In this video, we're going to take a look at the creation of MEP detail views in Autodesk Revit. A detail view is often something that has to be drafted, much like you would in AutoCAD. It has to be sketched out. We can use some components to help fill it out, but often it's not actually taken from the model. It's just completely drawn. So that's what we're going to do here. We're going to start by creating a mechanical detail to show a cross-section of what it looks like when a duct is passing through one of the walls like we see here. To begin with, I will go to the View tab, then point to Drafting View and select it here in the Create panel. I will give it a name, so we're going to call this one Fire Damper Detail, and then I'll accept the scale of 1.5 inches equals a foot. Then I'll go ahead and click OK. So basically, I get a blank view here in which I can begin sketching. If I expand the coordination node, I can see the question marks, and I can see that this is where it placed my fire damper detail. Well, I want to be a little more specific with its type and location, so I'm going to select this detail. I'm going to change in the properties its discipline to mechanical and its subdiscipline to HVAC. Now we'll see that that relocates to the proper location here. Next, I'm just simply going to sketch with my detail line tool. So I'll click the Annotate tab, then select Detail Line. I'll use my sketching tools and my different line types here. So I'll begin with my wide line, and I'm going to draw a line a couple feet long here, give or take. And then I'm going to create another one up 1.6 foot from there. I can always come back and adjust the lengths of these if I need to. Then I'm going to switch to thin lines, and I'm going to draw a couple of vertical thin lines as well. And then these are going to be spaced 8 inches apart. So this will give me a start. I'm not too worried about getting things perfectly centered because I'm going to end up putting some break lines in here anyways. Next, I'm going to do a little bit of cleaning up here. I'm going to split my wide lines here, and then I'm going to use my Trim Extend multiple elements to clean out the middle portion here. Next, I am going to go back to my Annotate tab and select the Detail Line tool again. Then I'm going to draw a few thin lines in here. By the way, if you're not seeing the difference between thick and thin lines, you have your Thin Lines button up here on your Quick Access toolbar that you'll want to select so that you can see the difference there. These are going to be 1 inch apart. This next one's going to be a 1/2 inch up from the existing lines, and then another one 1 inch apart here. Then I'm going to switch back to wide lines and draw on a couple of vertical lines 2.25 inch in from each side. And then I'll go ahead and connect those. Then I'm going to draw in some little lines here to represent the fire damper. So I'll just use my thin lines, and there's not really a specific requirement on the size of these, so I'll just draw a few angled lines in here like so. Next, I'm going to add some detail components. So I have some angle iron I need to place at each corner here. And here on the Annotate tab, I have my Detail Component tool. I will select that and then find the appropriate detail item. So I've got my L 2x2 by 1/4. That's what's going to go on the bottom. So I'll just simply click at the intersection, then tap the space bar to rotate it, and then put it in place there. Then I'm going to choose my 3x2, and I'll go ahead and tap my space bar to rotate it. Place it here on the left side. Now, of course, if I rotated it, this is not what I'm looking for on this side, so I'm going to need to mirror this one instead. I'll select it, use my mirror by drawing an axis tool. Then I'll snap to a midpoint and draw straight up to get a copy there. Next, I'm going to put some break lines all the way around these lines. So we have basically the wall here, and then we have the duct coming through the wall is what we're looking at. So once again, I'll use my detail component, and this time I'm looking for the break line. The break line actually includes basically a wipeout that's going to cover some items up. So I'm going to tap the space bar to rotate it. And based upon where that dimension is out in space, I can tell that the wipeout is on the left side of this one. So I'm going to just come in a little bit and click, and you can see how it wipes out some of that duct. So on the other side, I'm going to tap the space bar to rotate it a couple times to wipe out what's to the right. Then same thing here, I'm going to have it wipe out what is below. Now if you click and you accidentally put it in the wrong direction, not a big deal, I can just rotate it afterwards. So I'll use my rotate command, rotate it 180, and then I can move it into place as needed. Then I'll go ahead and place it one more time up top here. There we go. As you can see, these can be moved. I can adjust their clipping regions to control how much they're actually wiping out. Since I placed these last, they should be on top of everything else. As you can see, there's an option in the ribbon to move things to the back or front. So if I sent this to the back, it's behind my geometry, it's not covering anything. So if that happens to you, you just want to select it and bring it to the front so that it covers up everything behind it. Next, I want to put some 1-inch thick insulation in here. So I'm going to choose the insulation tool here on the Annotate tab, and I'll set its width to 1 inch. Then I can go ahead and track down a 1/2 inch from the top or bottom, and then draw my insulation in. Finally, I want to put some cross hatching inside the wall here. For that, I'm going to choose the Filled Region tool. Then I can click my type drop down and choose a hatch that I want to use. In this case, I'm going to use diagonal down. Basically for this, I just want to draw the region that I want to hatch inside of. So I'm going to use my rectangle tool. I'm going to snap to one of the corners of the wall here, and then I'm just going to track off of the right side of the wall, and I'm just going to draw into the break because I know that this area is going to be wiped out. I'll go ahead and click Finish. You can see what it looks like when I click away from it. Hopefully it was wiped out. If it's not, then I'm just going to grab that break and I'm going to bring it to the front to put it in front of that hatching. And now it should be nice and wiped out there inside the break. I'll do the same thing on the bottom. I'll choose my region tool, my rectangle tool, and then once again I will just draw into that area. And again, it looks like it's in front of the other one, so I am going to grab the break and bring it to the front so that it is wiping that out. Finally, we'll add some text notes. I'll select my text tool. I'll choose the option here with a leader with 2 segments, and then I will set my type to 330 seconds Arial. Then I can go ahead and place my leader and its landing, then enter in the necessary text. And then, of course, I can continue doing so using the tracking to make sure I'm lining up my leaders nicely. Those two are pretty close together, so I might adjust things a little bit. I might grab my break and move it up to give it some more space here. Then I can grab this leader and use the move symbol to move it straight up there. That way I still have my landings nice and even, but I've got a little more space between my labels. Of course, I can continue adding in more text, but I will leave that to you. What I want to do next is place this view on a sheet. I'm going to open up my sheet, M002 HVAC details. Then I am just simply going to drag and drop that fire damper detail onto this sheet. It might look kind of small, but remember this is a very big sheet and we'll probably end up putting several different details on here. Finally, I want to place a call out on one of the views. So I'll return to my 01 mechanical plan. Then I am going to place a call out in one of the spots where a duct runs through a wall. So I'll just choose this return duct here. Then on my View tab, I'm going to select the Callout tool. Now, often when we use the callout, we create a view and it zooms in closer to that view so that we can detail it. What I want to do in this case is I want to reference another view since I've already created that detail view. In the drop down here, I can tell it which view I want to reference, so that's going to be my fire damper detail. And I will just simply click a couple of points here to create my callout. I can select the callout and adjust the leader as needed. And you can see that the callout references the sheet and view number. So it is telling me that this callout is located on sheet M002 and it is view 1 on that sheet. Next, we'll take a look at a plumbing detail view. Here I can see some drains that I placed in an earlier lesson, and I would like to create a detail view that shows exactly what that area looks like. I will go to the View tab, then select Drafting View. I'm going to give this the name Floor Drain Detail, and I'll accept the default scale of 1.5 inches equals a foot. Go ahead and click OK. If I take a look at my project browser, it placed it underneath coordination by default here, and I want to go ahead and select it and set its discipline and subdiscipline to plumbing so that I can get that located in the correct spot here. Next, I'm going to go ahead and draw in some of this information. I'm actually going to use some detail components first, so I'm going to go to the Annotate tab, then Detail Component. I'm going to use the slab with optional haunch section of 4 inches. Then I am going to draw in the slab here. The textbook exercise has you draw a specific width of 2'3 1/4". The truth is I'm going to use breaks anyway, so it's not a huge deal if I don't use those exact values. So I'm just going to draw that somewhat in the neighborhood there. I can see mine's 2'8 inches. Next, I am going to place the drain. So I'll use my detail component again, and I'm looking for floor drain section. And I am just simply going to snap to place it there. Now, if I didn't quite get it in the right spot, I can use my align tool. So I'm going to type AL. I'll pick the top of the slab and the bottom of the drain there to get that to line up nicely. If you have thin lines turned off, it might look kind of busy there, so I like to turn thin lines on so that I can see that a little bit better. Next, we're going to put in some cross-section of a floor, so it's a component again, and this one is resilient flooring section. And I'm just simply going to select it here. The book once again gives you a value to come out of 7 inches. As long as you're longer than this horizontal portion here, you'll be fine, because we're going to be once again breaking things out. And then I'll do the same thing over here on the right side. In fact, I'm just going to mirror this one. I'll select it, mirror by selecting a center line, and then I'll just pick the center of the drain here. Then I'm going to create some filled regions for the grout in here. So I'll use my region tool, and I'm going to set my type to grout. Then I'm just simply going to draw inside this region here. I'm going to use the break, so it doesn't matter if it matches the existing floor perfectly there. It's all going to be covered up anyways. I'll go ahead and finish that, and we can see the grout pattern in there. And as I did with the floor, I'm going to mirror that over to the right side by selecting the center axis of the drain here. There we go. Next, I'm going to put in my breaks. So I'll use my component and break lines. I'm going to tap the space bar to rotate it. So I'll get one over here on the left, tap the space bar to get one on the bottom, and then tap it again to get one on the right side. Now it's looking a little bit weird here. So what I want to do is I want to take this break and bring it to the front so that it is in front of this other break. That way it's a little more consistent. Now the textbook exercise doesn't have you do this, but these break symbols are really large for what I'm dealing with here. So you can select these and use all these grips to resize them. So I can drag them in to get some smaller break symbols. Again, not required, but feel free to do that to get a better looking set of break symbols. Finally, I'll add in some text labels. So I'll use my text tool with the 2-segment leader. I'm going to go with the 3:30 seconds Arial text. And then I will create some leaders to detail this particular view. Of course, I can continue doing that going down the line here, but in the interest of time, I'm just going to place the one label there. Next, I'm going to place this on a sheet. So I have a sheet of P003 floor drain detail. And I'm going to go ahead and just simply drag and drop that view onto the sheet. And there we can see the view. Again, if I wanted to, I'd probably go back and adjust the break lines a little bit more to get them to fit the shapes a little more nicely. Finally, I want to go back to the sanitary plan, and I want to place a call out around one of these drains to indicate that that detail view exists. So I will go to the View tab and select Call Out. I will reference another view, and then I will select my floor drain detail. I'll go ahead and pick a couple of points to create a little call out around it. As you can see, the bubble tells me which sheet and which view it is. So it's on sheet P003 and it is view 1. I can go ahead and move this around as needed to get things to fit a little bit better. That concludes this look at creating MEP detail views in Autodesk Revit.